This episode is brought to you by the RVA Podcast Network. Find more information at rvapodcast.org.
We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
Are you serious? Like, we at season 7, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Yeah, season 7. Magic number. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna go in depth with that, but yeah, this will be a very positive season. I don't know why and what's making me say that, but everything's changed. Everything is a lot different. I know the title you'll still see the podcast about sports and stuff, but yeah, I ain't gonna get no sports. I'm still, like I said, stuff is very fluctuating now. I found that the connection with things is to get people to talk, as well as me taking time to talk. So you'll notice it, especially when you hear the first few episodes of this season. But it's just about sitting down and just having good talk, good conversation. Pass the message. Y'all know they ain't going nowhere. If you know, you know. If you've been around for a while, you already know how we give it up. But just hang in there. The content's amazing. The moves are even more amazing. And just put yourself in the right headspace to get this information. So hope y'all enjoy. What is up? What's going on? How's everyone doing? I can warn y'all now, this is probably going to be one of those shows that I'm definitely going to have to politely clean up, but I understand what comes with the territory. So when you make choices, you gotta, I ain't gonna say live with the choice, live with the consequences, but I think this is going to definitely get the content to a new level. And I'm not gonna go too much into detail about that small portion because that would take up a lot of the show. But I do want to go ahead and normally I would say this during episodes and it'd be like, okay, it's not gonna be brief, but this is probably gonna be a very brief podcast. And the only reason why is because, one, I owe y'all an episode, which you're probably going to end up getting these as a batch download or a batch share, which I don't like doing, but sometimes you got to do what works for the cause, and this is one of those cases. So, not really one that I have full control over, but I also look at it as I know where and how my routine takes me with certain things. So, want to put that disclaimer out there first and foremost. Number 2, we had our I love audio. We had our last episode, which got some pretty solid traffic, some solid attention, and like I said, that show will be up. So you'll probably, like I said, you're likely going to hear these simultaneously or back to back, one of the two. But when we finished that show, I was I guess you can call it, I was in the waiting room or in the green room. I know I've normally been saying that I'm not going to do a lot of sports. And before I go any further, because I want to go ahead and get this out of the way now, this podcast, I have no interest in addressing and or talking about the story with Ja Morant in the discussion. I don't really want to get into it. It's not even on I don't care. It's just more so that's not the direction my platform is going. So I want to get that out of the way before anyone says, well, why didn't you talk about it on your podcast? There you go. So I got that if you needed to hear about it. There's your story to talk about it. So I had I'm kind of going to do like a quick timeline, but a beneficial timeline, if you will. From the time we had did that, from the time I recorded that show that you will hear, a couple days had passed and I was on I guess you could say a good
extended weight of a hold, if you will. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen, how things were going to go, what the result would be. But sometimes you learn in life that when you're asked to wait, you wait. And this was one of those cases where I needed to just wait and be patient and just let the process be the process. So I did. I get off work. Now this is to give you context. This was Friday. I get off work Friday. I had a errand to go run. Still remember it because the item that I picked up, I've purchased the item, have since opened the item, haven't even physically per se used the item yet, which was a dry eraser, like an actual eraser for a dry erase board. Because I was trying to find the original one that I don't know where it is, so I was like, hey, I may as well just get another one. It was less than $2 anyway, so just kind of roll with the process. So I'm getting ready to pull up to the location where I had placed the order to be picked up. And I was literally about a block away from that location. And I get a phone call. The phone call came in very interesting because it didn't come in directly through my, like as if I was being called directly, but it also didn't come in. It also came in through an application that we use at work for chatting or communication, because I have mine connected to my phone, and so it makes it a much easier process at times when you're trying to get updates or get information on the go. Cool, no big deal. So I get the phone call. I see the phone call. I answer the call. I answer. I speak with the person on the phone who's the recruiter for the position that I had applied for. She had called to make an offer. And I'm going to talk about this before I go too far in depth with this story. It's so eye-opening when you hear a lot of people make phrases or make statements that say, they'll say, what God has for me, it is for me, or how it works for me is how I'm meant to handle it. But for whatever reason, when folks are in their moment of handling something, other people feel, well, you should do this. And I feel like if it was me, I would. And I'm like, but this ain't you. This is my moment. This is my opportunity. Let me rock with what I'm doing. And I share that because, and like I said, I'm not sharing this to even throw any type of shots at anybody, because it's a blanketed statement in general. But what I am saying is the recruiter did call. She did talk to me. She made an offer. I accepted that offer. There really wasn't, which I'm not tripping on, because some instances there's no such. A lot of times people look at it as there's wiggle room. You can talk through it, and it's like some cases it's like, look, let me go ahead and take this plate and get to eating, because tomorrow really ain't promised. So I went ahead and went for the opportunity, and I accepted and set a start date, which as of now, when you listen to this show, you'll be listening to it the day after receiving and confirming the date, which would be 2 weeks from yesterday, or whenever you hear the show, it'll basically be on March 20th. I will be starting that new role, which I'm excited, nervous, on pins and needles, massive thought bubbles. I could give so many different verbs, adjectives, feelings, thoughts. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But I will come clean in saying that I'm truly grateful for where this is taking me, or where this is bound to take me. Many people know me and know my story, and I recently did a blog that kind of broke down the 2-year window of where I was versus where I am. But this story, with this role and with this element of opportunity to get into, this started way before these last 2 years. This started literally from the time I crossed the stage in high school. I'm not going to get this long-winded introduction or speech on that,
but all I'm going to say is I initially looked to do engineering from the beginning when I was trying to get into school at North Carolina A&T, even down to wanting to go to school at George Mason, Virginia Tech, the list goes on and on. It worked out how it was intended to, and I personally can say I don't have any regrets of the end result whatsoever. The market has been how the market has been. I've gone through literally the ups and the downs with the tech market or the IT market, to say what I was saying. When I first got into it before, I was kind of green and kind of unsure of where I wanted to go or what I was trying to do. Now, even when many of my friends have heard me talk about this, and even some of the folks who I directly work with, when I first came in, even as a contractor, my talk was coding. I want to do coding. And I'm not sure if I have or haven't said this, but the role itself is an associate software engineer role, which is a big deal because it gives you the foundation to understand what software engineering is, and also get you in, get your hands dirty to like get into like what you could possibly be doing the more that you invest time and effort into this role. I won't go into numbers publicly because I've shared that with people who felt that I needed to talk with that on, but all I'm gonna say is the transition was worth it by far. Everyone's transition is different. Everyone's number is going to be different. But at the end of the day, it's about what's putting you in the right position to feel good about you and work harder on being a better you. So I can definitely say this is one to remember. This is a moment that will and has lived with me for quite a bit. Once I was able to hear this news, it was literally like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. So I'm beyond elated to confirm and say that we're at this point. So there's that part. I got 2 bullet points to add to this. One is going to kind of be just a general statement, and the other one is going to be kind of to say what I was saying, passing the message. In life, you're going to have people that are proud and that are in your corner. They're going to be there. It's going to be what it's going to be. You roll with it, you flow with it, you press through it. However, you also have those moments and those points where you literally have to be your own cheerleader and you have to be proud for who you are and what you've done. Getting the notification, getting the confirmation from others just ain't going to do it. It's literally a matter of you just getting you through the trenches and through the wall that you're trying to overcome. And when you realize how important that is, most importantly, how impactful that is, it makes a very big difference on your day-to-day without you even trying. And I believe I talked about this already on the show, but I'm circling back to it for the sake of this topic. I didn't understand or think about how key it is when you're doing something. Doing it for others is cool, but when you do it for you and saying you did it and you accomplished it, it is the greatest feeling in the world. And now it's basically like, all right, we got it done. Cool. And it's funny because even the computer, like how I have my computer set up now, I'm not able to directly see it, but I have it as my background and it says job's not done. Job's not done by far. Like there's more work to do as always, but I definitely can say I'm really and truly proud of what I've accomplished. And anyone who's been able to support me and show thanks, it's appreciated. Anyone who showed their support in their own way, it's appreciated too. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not really in like a negative space about it. And even more interesting thing too, because today is the final yet official day of the full moon. I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but it's interesting because I didn't know until it reached near the middle going towards the end that the full moon was in Virgo. Didn't think about it, didn't pay any attention to it. Wasn't a big deal. And I think the other big part of it was I personally wasn't giving it the attention that most people would traditionally give the full moon. Just my personal piece on that. So I wanted to make sure I share and address that while continuing. Message that I'm going to pass along is, and it, like I said, it kind of ties into the being your own cheerleader. Show support for yourself. And how I'm going to show support for myself, because I did this on my page, I'm going to promote here more often. So I'm going to promote these now. So if you are a person who is in need of any documents to be notarized, any information to be signed off on, you need a public notary, reach out. I can definitely help you there. If you are looking to, and I'm even going to take this a step further. If you have thought about wanting to blog but not sure where to begin, hit me up, because I want to help you with getting your blog out. And I think everyone who has wanted to do blogging, been unsure of doing blogging, has the ability to do blogging but don't know where to begin, I want to help you through that process and what I did and how it worked and what got me to this point. If you are looking to do podcasting, shoot, I mean, you already know. If you're looking to do podcasting, I'd say and this is something I always emphasize. Do not go out here and try to buy the most expensive microphone and buy the most souped up computer, and you're only gonna record 4 episodes. Like, I'm sorry, that's not it. That ain't the movement. That ain't the way. And I say that because with podcasting, it's so simple. You really don't even need a microphone anymore. Like, you could literally just get a pair of earbuds, plug it into your computer, make them, if the earbuds got a little microphone on them, make that microphone your main microphone, and then work on everything else from there. Don't overcomplicate the process that's simple in its own form. Like, it really and genuinely is a simple process when it comes to podcasting. The hardest part of podcasting is everything surrounding the actual podcast. But I just want people to, like, make what they want to do be what they want it to be. I've pushed the business, but not enough. I am a full-time, even with me working a full-time job, getting ready to do a full-time job as an associate software engineer. I also want to make others aware that if you are looking to get any graphic or web design needs out there, and you need to reach out to someone to possibly get a quote, get some general information, hit me up. And I'm not just saying hit me up just like, hey, I'm not sure what I'm trying to do. I'm saying reach out and let's actually see where you are with what you're working on and see how I can help you. If it's to the point where you need like a full website from the ground up, or you need a full logo from the ground up, let's make it a thing. Like, let's get it going. Let's get things in the right direction. So I want to be sure that I'm putting those feelers out there to people to make it clear, if this is something you're really trying to do, the best time is now. And that's an added message from me saying this to you all, because, you know, in me sharing the news and being excited about everything, one of my friends had to really break it down to me and was like, you got to stop being humble. You got to stop selling what you do short. You got to let folks know who you are. And I personally have been one to admit that I've been making so much effort of trying to see others get what they need to get done, that I've been forgetting what I need to get done. And that's about to change. That's really about to change. Like, I'm going to support who I can. I'm going to give love, I'm going to repost, I'm going to reshare, all of that stuff. But on the flip side, what we need to do, what Brian is going to do, is get Brian out there and get, like, what I'm trying to do to people, to let them know, like, yo, we here. So that's what I got for y'all today. Quick show. Nothing intense. I'm going to work harder. I know I keep saying this all the time. I'm going to work harder on keeping shows simple, because I don't want to, not necessarily bore y'all, but I don't want to give a whole lot of overkill on conversation when there's not much necessary to be said. And I mean, to say without saying, I'm a one-man band. And I've put this out there to people, and I've shared this publicly and privately with a lot of my friends. If you are looking to if you're not in a space where you're ready to do a personal podcast yourself, but you're open to coming on the show as a guest, we can talk. I would love to have people on. I've had many folks on. We've had plenty of conversations about so many different things. And I say this all the time, especially in the podcast community. There's an endless amount of content that can be shared. You just have to find what that content is and how to get it to people. So take with that, do with that as you will. And next week, we'll have more in store, have possibly some entrepreneurship updates, some productivity updates, and just kind of making things move in the right direction. Because right now it's literally about just progress, productivity, and positivity. That has literally been like the name of the game lately. So that's what I got for y'all. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. And until next time, this is the Paz signing out.
Another episode is completed. Thank you all for listening. If you want to check out the podcast, you can go to buzzsprout.com. If you're looking to do podcasts, you can go to buzzsprout.com. To get to my podcast, you'll go to the passbtpod.buzzsprout.com. If you're looking at getting a microphone, I always suggest getting the Blue Yeti X. That is the microphone that I use. If you're starting off and you need something more affordable, Samson Meteor, it's a worthwhile investment. And there are other microphones that are going to be simple enough. My big suggestion I tell everyone whenever looking for a microphone, be sure that your microphone has the ability to have you listen to your audio or listen to yourself as you're talking. It will make a big difference in your editing and your podcast. Also, most importantly, and I tell people this is a tip offline, but I'm giving this in the final listen or at the end of the show. Drink water while recording, and also just drink water in general. But drink water while you're recording, and the reason why, you'll be surprised. All right, see y'all on the next show.